by my current attire, you can probably guess that I'm not the happiest person after the Royal Rumble happened. I guess this is the return, the grand return of your boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Pixel Master 211, aka Dom, aka Dickhead, whatever you want to call me, I don't care. Look, I'm just making this video because I'm annoyed, and don't even know if this will see the light of day. But I just need to get things off of my chest, you know. So this isn't some. I wouldn't expect any more videos from me anytime soon necessarily, but you know, I feel the need to speak my mind about what happened at the Royal Rumble, because you know I can't annoy the people in my life about it. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna make this video. Okay, so whether you people see this or not, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna talk and I'm just gonna rant. Is that okay with you guys? Is that cool? Cool. All right. I'm assuming it's cool. I'm gonna take these off so I can just see better. Also got Goldie here with me. With his belt. What a beautiful belt. Yeah, I just whenever I'm upset, I just give this thing a hug. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's gonna be better. I know. Don't worry, baby. It's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be fine. So not to shit entirely on the Royal Rumble, it wasn't actually that bad of a pay-per-view. I thought it was relatively good, at least really pretty good by Saudi standards. The entire match, the entire card, I thought was relatively okay and good. I thought the Women's Rumble was decent enough. It wasn't the best Women's Rumble, but it wasn't the worst by any stretch as well. Really happy that Liv Morgan won. Liv Morgan was my pick. Now, they've got some things to work out. Whether you think that Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Fouquet is a women's, world title match, WrestleMania main event level women's match is up to you. I'm not convinced it is. However, that's also come from someone who thinks that they should drop the title from Stephanie to Raquel. Stephanie's great. She's a really good wrestler, but they haven't really done anything with her yet either. She's still young. There's time on the clock to make that work. But I think that the best possible story as well as match would be Liv taking on Raquel with Roxanne either in a triple threat or Roxanne as the special guest referee. That might sound silly to some people, but I think Roxanne deserves to be involved in that in some capacity, whether she is actually wrestling or in the special guest capacity or whatever. I think that Liv, Raquel, Roxanne dynamic is what should happen for the women's world title at WrestleMania. That's just what I think should happen. And so from that perspective, I'm happy that Liv Morgan won. AJ versus Gunther was quite good as well. For me, probably just a little bit worse than Cena and Gunther. They may have benefited as well from the fact, again, it's John Cena. Obviously it was emotional, and this was emotional too, as well. But it probably didn't hit as hard as it did for Cena. Probably because Cena spent more of his career in WWE, so it made more of a sense of emotion, And I think AJ, with the ending of that match, him refusing to put the gloves away in the ring or the boots or, something that a person who's retiring would do, he kept onto it. So that might mean he's sticking around in some capacity, either somewhere else or in the WWE or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced of what's going to happen. But it was a very good match. Well done. And we'll see what happens with AJ Styles. I think Drew versus Sami Zayn was quite a good match as well. The story was there for Sami Zayn to win. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't have won, but the story was there for him to win if it was going to happen. 11-0 to Drew, undefeated in Saudi Arabia, and he didn't win. He's now defeated in Saudi Arabia, and it is 12-0 to Drew. Now, I've seen some people talk about how this could be his, Cody Rhodes WrestleMania 39 moment. If it is, and he wins the title, if it isn't, sorry, and he doesn't win the title at WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia, I think that Sami's chances at winning the world title are relatively shut, which kind of sucks because Sami Zayn's great. and um, he deserves, I think, a world title run, at least one. You know what I mean? Like, we can sit here, we can say Kevin Owens is a world champion to caliber wrestler. He is. We can say that Finn Balor is, and neither of these guys have gotten much opportunity either. But at least they've held the title at least once. They've had a moment of winning the title. Sami Zayn hasn't had that, and I think Sami at least deserves that, as if nothing else. Sami deserves to have the moment of winning the belt, and even if it doesn't even have to be at WrestleMania necessarily. It doesn't, but we've sort of backed into a corner now where the Saudi WrestleMania next year is the only place that makes real sense for him to do it. So we're going to have to wait and see. But Drew is great as a champion. I think Sami would have been great to win as well, but Drew obviously won. I'm happy for him. Good match. But, you know, again, it's fine. It's okay. Talking about the actual Rumble performances now, Lash Legend and Sol Ruka were both really, really good. That was cool to see. It's clear that they've got plans in place for both of them. I think Lash Legend maybe was a bit too good. Like, am I the only person who doesn't see, like, Cole was talking about Rhea and Lash Legend facing off against each other and was talking about how this is a main event of WrestleMania caliber match in the future. Could be. And I don't see it with Lash Legend. I don't think she's there, you know. Maybe I'm in the minority. I'm not sure. You can tell me. But yeah, I thought she did have a good performance. I thought Sol Ruka was awesome. Now, people liked the ending of her going for a soul snatch on like the outside while you're on the ring post. I think it's quite dumb, but also it sort of complains that, you know, young, less experienced type of role. Hey, you lost the Rumble because you're not as experienced. You tried to do something not, you know, great, and you could have won if you just back in the ring. But I digress. I also really liked what they did with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss in the Rumble. I thought that was a really cool dynamic. You know, the first minute of them being 1 and 2 created that little bit of tension that you needed. To where, oh, is he gonna go? You know, he's gonna throw. No, you know, oh, they're friends. Oh, it's good, you know. But then, obviously, Charlotte eliminates Alexa Bliss, and yeah, I thought that was really well done. You know, we also saw the return of Brie Bella, who I'm not a fan of in any respect. It's cool that she's got Daniel Bryan to help rely on her to get over. That's kind of cool. But I'm not the biggest fan of the Bella twins, so I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I don't really care. Like, that was the big, like, selling point of the returns for the match. You know, no Bianca Belair is kind of shocking. Don't know what's wrong with her. If she's still injured, you know, maybe it's serious. Maybe she's asked for more time off. I'm not sure what's happening back there, but I would have thought Bianca could have come back in this Rumble. Maybe they didn't want to bring her back to have her lose the Rumble. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I don't know. Another person who was great in the Women's Rumble was Kiana James. What a fucking performance. She was great. Absolutely spectacular. The problem that I had with the Women's Rumble and with Kiana coming out and, you know, the Women's Rumble in general, is it happened way more with the women, but it's a WWE problem at whole, which everyone talks about. I don't need to sit here and rant about it, but the theme music in WWE. The thing is, I'm relatively... I like a lot of the songs that Death Row produces. It's just, for me, they either produce something really good or really bad. And there's no in between. People talk about how they produce just mid. I disagree. I don't think they produce mid. I think they produce shit or good. It's weird. Kiana James, I had no idea she was coming out. No, not a single clue. You know, I heard this music I'd never heard of before. I'm like, who the hell's that? Oh, it's Kiana James. That's cool. The problem with that is that you've got her paired with Julia, and she always comes out to Julia's music, so you don't know that she's coming out. So, again, they either shouldn't be together. You should present Kiana as her own separate act, or have her just come out more. Because, again, I didn't have any clue that she was coming out. And get some better theme music, please. It's not hard. It's not hard, WWE, please. Now, for the positives about the Men's Rumble before I completely shit on it. Obafemi is a machine. That was true before the Rumble, and it's true after the Rumble. 5 eliminations is really good, but we'll get to the negatives of that at the same time. LA Knight got a massive pop, because of course he did, because he's the best, you know. Just gotta represent, you know what I mean? Yeah. What am I doing? But seriously, I thought he had I'll get to the negatives, but I thought he had a decent Rumble. Eliminating 3 people, getting a BFT on Roman, being involved in a couple of other major spots, eliminating Brock. I think that he had a really decent Rumble. You know, I thought the first half of the Rumble in general was quite good and quite well put together. And I also, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I actually liked what they did with the Bron Breakker stuff and him getting beat to shit by a person in all black and a masked figure. Even if, you know, that's now become an over-reliance, like a overused trope for Triple H. You know, I still liked it. I actually thought it was if Braun, again, remember, I think Braun could have won the Rumble very, very easily and should have been, you know, if I would have much preferred Braun win it to Roman. However, if you're not going to have Braun win it, doing something interesting and different like this is cool. I like things that are different like this. Instead of having him just get in there and lose towards the end. I don't mind this. It creates a story, and it's probably to set up Seth versus Breakker at the Rumble. I don't think the Masked Man was Seth. I think there's a chance it was Austin Theory again. Looked a bit too skinny to be Austin. Austin's pretty jacked, so I'm not convinced it was Austin Theory. But like, I like the idea. I like personally the idea of Austin Theory being a plant in the Vision by Seth to implode the group from within. So him revealing eventually down the line that he attacked Braun and he led the Vision to be into peril. I think that's a good idea to start something like that. So I don't mind that as much per se. Again, I will get to the negatives in a bit, but I didn't mind this, to be honest. I thought this was relatively well done. And in general, like, Javon Evans was great in this Rumble. I think he was the Iron Man. I think he spent the most time in the Rumble. Probably could have spent a little bit longer. The men's Rumble was quite short in comparison to most of the time, I found. But I liked, another thing I did like is how they sort of spread out the people this time. You had some people who could have won at the start. You had some people who could have won in the middle. Even though I wouldn't want Cody to win. Cody coming out in the middle was cool. I actually liked Cody Rhodes coming out in the middle of the Rumble. And towards the end, obviously, you get Roman Reigns and Brock and whatever. But I like it when they spread them out as opposed to keeping them all for the end or giving them all the start. So I like that personally. Now it's to the fun part. Oh boy, here we go. I think it's fairly safe to say that this Rumble was all over the fucking place. The booking specifically was all over the place. Like, again, while I liked the stuff with Braun, you know, I can understand the people who disliked it as well. You know, having a favorite of the Rumble get tossed out immediately probably isn't great. There probably could have been someone else to put in that spot. You know, I think what happened with shit hit the fan as soon as Brock hit the ring. Let's be honest. That's exactly when this turned. All right, number 22, Brock Lesnar comes out, and oh shit hits the fan. Okay, he comes in, he does the same fucking thing that he always does. He German suplexes people, he F5s some people, and he throws some people out. Why do we have to continue doing this with Brock Lesnar? Why did Brock have to eliminate Obafemi? What? How can you think in your mind that you have Brock Lesnar and you have Obafemi, and this, from everything I can gather, that seems to be the WrestleMania match, is Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, right? You want to set that up. In what world do you think that Brock eliminating Obafemi is the right booking decision to have. I just don't understand it. I can't fathom it. I don't understand. Would it really have hurt Brock to have been tossed out by Obafemi? I don't understand. This isn't gonna go well, is it? It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I promise. It's gonna be okay. The stuff with Jey Uso, I'm sorry, it's unbearable. I cannot stand it. Okay. The problem, there's a very specific dilemma with Jey Uso that I actually feel bad for, like, the creative team for, and it's that the online audience seemingly does not like Jey Uso. They think he's overpushed. He's not a great wrestler. These things are all probably true, right? But it's also a fact that the crowd loves Jey Uso. The crowd loves him. So I have no. It's a kind of a dilemma for them. I kind of feel bad for them. But even then, let's just for 1 second, right? Why he looked like a massive pussy in the Rumble? First of all, he got the longest entrance by far of any wrestler in the Rumble. Second of all, the run it back is getting. I'm sick of it. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it. I'm getting. I'm sorry. I don't like it anymore. It's getting annoying. I'm sorry. It's just getting annoying. Because the problem here is that I think Jey is actually a capable wrestler. He's quite capable. He's quite good when he's not stuck to being the yeet man. When he's doing everything surrounding that word, he falls apart. Like Roman smacked the shit out of him after he tried to, with Roman, right? He looked like an idiot. Then you have Brock Lesnar, who eliminated Obafemi, get tossed out by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight in the middle of his entrance because the entrance is too long. What the fuck? What are we doing? What's going on? I feel like I'm insane. Why does Logan Paul make the Final Four again? Why? I understand. I disagree with it, but I understand Roman being there. I understand Randy Orton being there. I understand Gunter being in there in the Final Four, okay? I actually like the Gunter Randy stuff. It seems like that's the move for WrestleMania as well. The Legend Killer versus the Career Killer. I can get behind that. That's okay, right? Why is Logan Paul in the last four? What importance does Logan Paul have in the top of the WWE card to where we need to put him in the Final Four? He is the third best man in the division. Let's be honest. Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Why did it have to be? I like Lucha Libre Wrestling. I like AAA. I like the people who I like luchadors and stuff. But there were 10 luchadors in this match. 10. I think that putting the AAA wrestlers in there was a mistake because you've pulled them out in front of a crowd who won't recognize them. The pop and reaction wasn't there for them. In a different city, in a different country, in a different whatever, they would probably get a reaction. But they're in front of Saudi Arabia, and in my opinion, based off of the reaction we heard from them, no one cared. No one gave a single shit at these guys who came out. Why does Cody Rhodes eliminate LA Knight so easily and whimsically, and why is LA Knight not in the top 4? Why does Logan Paul have to be there instead of LA Knight? I don't understand the principle behind the whole problem that we have with the LA Knight stuff, right? Look, you can see back there, that way, right? He should be a champion. He should be the world champion at some point. He should have been one by now. He talks like a top guy. He acts like a top guy. He carries himself like a top guy. He can work like a top guy. He can, he moves merch like a top guy. The only thing he doesn't have that a top guy does or has is the booking. It's the only thing that he's missing is the booking behind him being the top guy. He can do it. He's quite capable. I'm not the only person to think this. There's lots of people who think this. You heard the reaction from the crowd. That's not just in Saudi. That's everywhere. That's all across the globe. Now let's get to the biggest problem, which is Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. Why is this a problem? The reason why this is a problem is because Roman Reigns is an established main event superstar. He is established as being one of the best superstars in the WWE. He does not need the Royal Rumble win, right? Instead of giving the win to someone who could use it to be propelled into the main event scene, like Obafemi, Bron Breakker, LA Knight, Sami Zayn, if you could have done that if you wanted to put him in the Rumble after he lost, if you wanted to do that. You didn't do it, but you could have, right? Even dark horses like Gunther, Finn Balor, any of these people are less established than Roman Reigns, right? You could have main event catapulted someone, Jacob Fatu, another person, sorry, right? You could have catapulted somebody into the main event scene with a massive Royal Rumble win. That's what it used to be about, right? And instead, you've chosen, right, to have an established main event player already who has held the title for over 1,300 days win the Royal Rumble to go on to face 47-year-old CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. I like Roman Reigns. I like CM Punk. This isn't me trying to bash either of them. They're both great. The problem is that neither man gains anything from being in the matches together at WrestleMania. What does CM Punk gain from facing Roman Reigns? Not first of all, the second year in a row, but second of all for the world title, right? How he's going to lose or he's going to win, right? It's not going to make him any stronger than he is right now. Same thing with Roman. Him beating CM Punk for the world title does not change his GOAT argument, right? It does not change him into being an even bigger megastar. He is already a main event level player. If you put Obafemi in that spot, if you put LA Knight in that spot, if you put Bron Breakker in that spot, you put Jacob Fatu in that spot, you put Sami Zayn in that spot, you can put whoever, whatever name you find suitable, right, who's not a main event player, right, you put them in the main event instead with CM Punk or Drew McIntyre, and what happens is the only way you can make a main event player is by giving those people main event opportunities and putting them in the main event with main eventers, right? Roman gains nothing from this win. Nothing. He doesn't earn a single thing, right? Punk doesn't earn a single thing from beating Roman Reigns, okay? He doesn't, right? The problem I have here is that Roman talked about how the creative has disappointed him from WWE because they haven't made any stars since he was gone. The problem here is that wrestling is fake. This is not real. Wrestling doesn't exist. Wrestling's fake, right? So they've actively chosen not to go down these routes, and they've actively chosen not to build these new stars, right? The only person who I can think of that Triple H has built up to a star level, right? There's two people, right? Gunter's one of them, okay? I think he's done a really good job with Gunter. Gunter's clearly his boy, which is fine, right? Anybody who would be running WWE Creative has their favorites, okay? Triple H is allowed to have favorites, all right? It's okay. Everyone's allowed that, right? Gunter's clearly one of them. The other, who fans for some reason don't like, I don't understand why I like him, right? But he's also, like, the only person who matches that Gunter built is Damian Priest, right? And people aren't going to like that to say that, right? But he's the only other name I can think of, right? He won the Money in the Bank, he cashed in at WrestleMania, he had a decent world title reign, and he was presented very strong, right? That has since gone down the toilet, right? Fans don't like him, and that is, I don't think, a problem with Damian Priest. I think that's a problem with the booking, right? But there's only two people I can think that have actually been elevated by Triple H, because at the very least, Damian's stock from before to after Triple H has at least gone up, right? Like, I get there's other people who have gone up too, but not the level that I'm talking about, right? I need a breather. So as I said before, the problem that we have here is that wrestling is fake. Hunter, Paul, whatever you want to call him, Triple H, has actively chosen not to build new stars here when you have the opportunity to. Now, I see people who say, hold on one second. The Royal Rumble is specifically the time where you get the opportunity to make new stars, push new people, and create new main event level players. They had the opportunity to do so today. They chose not to in favor of going back to Roman Reigns. Once again, I don't hate Roman Reigns. He just doesn't need the Rumble win whatsoever. In my opinion, right? If I had the pen, so to speak, Roman would not be in the main event of WrestleMania. He'd be in one of the main event matches. Again, when everyone talks about the main event of WrestleMania, I think we overblow it just a little bit. WrestleMania in itself is the main event of WWE. It is the culmination of an entire year's build leading up to that pay-per-view, right? So being on the card in itself is a main event, right? But being in the main event of WrestleMania is how you make stars who can be in the main event of other pay-per-views. So when I see people on Twitter saying, you know, that Roman gave them 2 years to build a new star, it only took Roman 7 years to get to stardom. It only took him that long to get actually acquitted to being a superstar level caliber wrestler, right? But that's besides the point. He only gave them 2 years and they failed. So he has to return and win the Rumble. He sat out the entirety from November. He announced that he was going to be in the Rumble via graphic and satellite, who wasn't there. And the first thing that Triple H says after Roman wins the Rumble and shits on him in the process in his creative is say, I'm not sure when Roman's going to appear to determine who he's going to face. That just, like, you know, that's a slap in the face. I'm sorry. It's a slap in the face. I don't understand. Any of Jacob Fatu, Obafemi, Bron Breakker, LA Knight easily could have been promoted to that spot and given a go in that spot, right? I get people who tell me as well all the time that, you know, like CM Punk LA Knight is not a WrestleMania main event. Well, we don't know until it fucking happens. Yeah, we can't know how well of a main event level feud that is until it happens. It hasn't happened yet, right? It's done really well in the hints on Raw that it's gotten, right? It's done really well. They have really good chemistry together, actually. But you don't know until you put them in that spot, right? The only way LA Knight's going to be promoted to being a main event player is by working with the main eventers like CM Punk, right? If he doesn't get to work with CM Punk and Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania, he won't get there. Same thing with Jacob Fatu, same thing with Bron Breakker, Obafemi, etc. There's multiple options that they had. They could have chosen and chose not to do, and instead went back to old reliable Roman Reigns. And that's where everyone gets. That's where my frustration comes from, and I know a lot of people's frustration comes from. Is just that fact. Is the fact that they had the chance to build a star, and they opted not to. Don't get me started on Ilya Dragunov, by the way. Ilya Dragunov should have been at least, should have lasted way longer than he did as well. Trick Williams was great too. I need to shout out Trick Williams. Trick Williams was really good in the Rumble too. Also, no Carmelo Hayes, no Finn Balor, no, who else? Dominic Mysterio. Clearly, he's still injured, but there's people who missed out on this Rumble. But you had people from AAA who, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Mr. Iguana, LA Parker. I you're good and you're cool, but the Saudi people don't know you. That's the problem. Man, maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong here. I don't know. You just can let me know, okay? I don't know if this will even be uploaded. We'll see. If you listen to the whole 30-minute rant, you know, no applause to you. Appreciate you. Okay. You know, my WrestleMania hype is sort of killed after this because I have no interest in seeing Punk and Roman. I'm sorry, I just don't. So I don't know. Maybe I'm minority. You tell me. You tell me. I'm not sure. All right. Anyways, I appreciate all of you. If you did watch, okay, put this in the background or something. I don't know. Do what you want. Okay, do what you will with this information. All right. I'm taking off. All right. Peace out.